Good morning. Now I can't hear. Can you hear me? See if you can put mine up a little bit. Let me see if I toggle this a little bit. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Oh, there you go. I need to. Son of a gun. Let me switch. Or no, there you go. I'm all right. At the first break, I'm gonna switch to the other one. I get mixed up on which one I have to toggle over.
I have the volume pretty bumped for you.
Yeah,
right
no,
now.
I know, but when I actually have it working the right way, it's going to go up to 1,000.
I know.
Good morning, everybody. We'll do that at our first break. So, since Facebook, who is it? I don't even know what the hell they do here anymore. What is it? YouTube or something?
YouTube.
So, since we're doing YouTube, you can't play any music. And you guys know my whole start to get my head straight is that we play 3 really, really good songs, get our coffee pots going. So, we're going to have to, Joe, this is what's called just adjustment on the move. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So we'll have to figure out another way to get going. I stopped and picked up some iced coffee. Good morning, everyone, by the way. It's Friday. You made it through another week. I'm Dave Kuziak. He's Joe Cimino. You're listening to WJOB 1230 AM 104.7 FM from the beautiful Strachan Van Til Food Market Studios here at the campus of Purdue Northwest, which is my alma mater. And it's Friday. There's a lot going on. 219-845-1100. We will kick it. And there's a lot of things going on here, as you guys know. I talked with Jim last night a little bit, and there's obviously you guys know that this is becoming a major sports hub. It's always been, but not to the level that it's at now, with streaming and everything else, and with the technology which allows you to be at 6 or 7 or 8 different sites. I did sports here for 20 plus years, and it was a big deal when we were at 2 sites. And I remember when we were able to bounce from one site to another, and we thought that we were really doing something. Here is now you can pretty much watch 6 or 8 different games that you guys can be at.
Yeah, I think we have 8 going this week.
So they could go on at any time. So how does that work? So like you just go on and it's kind of like on demand. You just click on the game that you want.
I wish. Yeah. I mean, you can go onto the website or the app, and we stream all of the games separately with separate equipment, separate people, separate commentators for all games, and then you can just go onto the app, click whichever game you wanted to watch, whichever game your kid's on or your cousin.
And it's a big deal today. You guys are doing college game day or whatever you guys call it.
High school, yeah. Friday night kickoff, I think is what we.
You're not supposed to call it college game day, are you? We can get in trouble.
No, I don't think we'll get in trouble. We're just they're high schoolers.
Or high school game day. You can't call it high school game day.
I just don't know if it rolls off the tongue the same.
So this year was the inaugural year of doing that, and you've been in charge. How has the crowds been? How has it been so far? Give people an update.
In charge is definitely an overstatement. I would say Pete's probably in charge. He's the one that makes the schedules for everything, schedules the interviews, gets everything ready as far as script. So shout out Pete, because he's the one that's put this all together, and he's done a magnificent job. But it's early in the day. I think the more that we've done this, the more traction that we've started to get. When we did the first Andrean game, there wasn't a whole lot going around in the background. Everyone was still at the tailgate. But as my
understanding, and I'm not an Andrean person, obviously, I'd rather take a sharp object and put it in the center of my eye socket. I think that feels better, but I'll leave that alone. My understanding on that day is that they drink in the parking lot at Strax or something like that. Is that what happens? You went there. Is that what the adults do?
I don't do any of the drinking, but yes.
So they're south of the fence, which allows them. And just to be honest, when we used to do the Knoll games, I used to just drink right on the Knoll property. I mean, it was just all you do is put it in a red cup. So we used to do the tailgate where we used to do the blue and gold. We'd do hot dogs and hamburgers for the people as they came in, and I felt no need to leave the property to drink. I'd pour it right in a red cup and
The softball field, the football field, it's all turf now. They all got their logos on the center field.
I have not been out to the Lowell facilities.
It's very nice.
It should be a big game. What time does the festivities start today out there?
The show starts at 5. The festivities, as in game day, starts at 7.
The game day starts at 7?
Yeah.
So it's only a half-hour game day?
No. The
game starts at 7. The show starts at 5. The game starts at 7.
Yeah.
So, and do you guys have the thing built, the stage and all that's built?
We
and it's
do. Shout out to
was it $5.99 who built it? The Carpenters?
the Northwest Carpenters. Yep, the same people that made our lovely, cool-looking clocks that you guys see on both of our screens. They also made our. Oops. They also made our stage, and it looks super nice. It's very portable. You can split it in half and put it in the back of Pete's truck and ship it off or whatever to wherever we need to go with it. It's super convenient. It's very nice. It's very well done. It's very detailed, and it's comfortable.
There you go. So if you want to, you can go on out there. That's the game of the week. It's in Lowell. I think that might have been one of the last few high school football games that I went to, and that was when Kevin Bobus' son Zach was quarterback, and one of the James boys was running back, and they ended up going to regionals or something. They ended up beating Morton that year. So Zach's probably 25, 27. So was that 10 years ago maybe I went? I don't know. Time flies, but that's maybe the last high school football game that I've actually gone to. And they take it pretty serious out there. So if you want to go on out there, whether you're an Andrean fan or a Lowell fan or just a fan of football alone, you can go on out there and enjoy an experience. And if you'd like to sit at home and watch the game, you can watch the college game day, and they would do that by listening to 12:30 a.m. And then what's our way? This sounds terrible. I don't even know how. People have called me, and I need to bone up on this. If someone wanted to watch this program, where are the different ways that someone can watch this?
So this program, as in the Dave Kuziak Show, airs on the radio, right, on
12:30 a.m., 104.7 FM.
Correct. Still on there. And then we are live on YouTube on WJOB 12:30. If you guys subscribe and turn on notifications, you will get a reminder on your home screen once we go live with every show that we have.
Does it cost?
Does not cost.
So if someone wanted to, a little bit behind the times when it comes to that. So it's YouTube TV?
Nope, just YouTube.com.
So you just go through like one of your search engines or something?
Yeah, you could literally go on Google, type in YouTube, and then once YouTube pops up, go onto the search bar on YouTube, WJOB 1230. And yeah, it's pretty much.
And then so that's on your phone, and then if you wanted to do that at home, how does that work then to get it on your big screen TV? You can.
Same. If you guys have one of those smart TVs that you can immediately just kind of go onto your apps and then click on YouTube, just the same as any other streaming service. If you don't have it, you could probably download it the same way you would any other streaming service on your TV.
So the whole hook to this is you're a perfect example. You came here just for your senior year?
For high school or
college? For high school.
Yes.
So you have family throughout the country and throughout the world, correct?
Correct.
So if this there when you played or no?
No, actually, we had RRSN, but we did not have JED TV.
So this is specifically some of the hook is for is your grandma and grandpa still living?
Yes.
And
both sides.
They live in other areas?
Both live in the East Coast.
So they can, theoretically speaking, if this was 5 years ago when you were playing, they would be able to just watch you every week if you were on.
Yeah, and I think that's the great thing about it is that literally now everybody's extended family can come or don't have to show up, but they can still watch, their family members play. My mom moved to Connecticut a a few months ago, and she still tunes into every pregame show that I do. So she watches.
Look at her. She looking at a little baby. Are you the
Yeah.
baby of the family?
I'm the only of.
Oh,
The
you're
family.
your only child?
Yep. So very
So
much.
your
the
mommy, is she listening now, you think?
I don't know.
Say, hi, Mom.
Hello,
Tell.
Mom.
Always
I
start
know
out
my
by
dad's
saying, hi,
listening.
Mom.
Shout out to my dad. He's on his way to Costco for work. I know
And he's in there. He's already taken over the Costco one over there, or is he over here?
No, so he's still over here for now. I don't know exactly what the details I'm allowed to say are, because I know that he likes to keep everything close to the vest.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we don't want to. It's
Yeah.
that's his career. We don't want to be talking about that other than say hi, Dad.
Yep. Hi, Dad. How are you?
So the Joe is doing a good job. Every Friday that he comes in, there's a challenge that he needs to deal with. But this is good training for you, Joe,
Oh, yeah.
because in life, that's what happens in the real world. I mean, let's just take your dad's name out of it, but let's just say you think when your dad comes into Costco every day, or someone at Costco or a related business, the first thing that you have to deal with is the stuff that you didn't think was going to happen.
Oh, yeah.
So we call it putting out fires. And so you hope that you don't have to put out fires, but you learn how to put them out. You learn how to put them out. That's where you learn the most about your business, because you're troubleshooting and you're figuring things out. And I will tell you one thing, Joe, and you know this: there's no shortage of you troubleshooting here, is there, to keep this place running?
Holy no.
So we appreciate that. So I want to talk about some things today. We're going to take a break, obviously.
I was gonna say I can show people how to do the WJOB thing real quick if you want.
I think that's important. Also, there's a big rivalry, TF North and TF South. And for those people, because there are quite a few people, believe it or not, that do. A lot of people don't realize this. The tower, and I know now it's streaming, so people watch and listen differently. But if you're just a traditional radio person, do you understand that the tower booms more to Illinois than it does Indiana?
Really, I would.
So, and then when I first, growing up, there were quite a few people that listened on the Illinois side, and they would cover, Lansing and Cal City and places like that, South Holland and Linwood and things like that. So it does boom that way. So it's a big rivalry as well, TF North, TF South, and big game tonight. So we'll take our first break, and when we come back, Joe, what are we going to do?
We can go over the YouTube and then talk about whatever your heart desires.
Oh my gosh! Look at you. You look. What? Do you have a girlfriend?
I do not.
I will tell you, one of the first things that you will get you a girlfriend is to tell her, we're going to talk about whatever it is that your heart desires. Keep that line. That's a good one.
Okay.
And so it says, Coach Anthony Pignatello, TF North alum, and Coach Artie Rogers and the Meteors. So it's that time of year, isn't it? It's rivalry. Is it the last weekend of the year? Regular season?
Yeah.
So then is there a week break, or does it automatically go right into the playoffs?
No, so it goes right into the playoffs. Our show will not be airing for the first 2 weeks of the playoffs. So like the pregame show will pick back up for the championship game. But we will still be live streaming the games.
There you go. So we're going to take our first break, and when we come back, Joe is going to show you how to listen, and I probably should learn as well. I would be able to fumble my way through it. So and we'll wait for you to do it, because this is what your generation does much better than my generation. So stick around for the more Dave Kuziak Show. More of the Dave Kuziak Show on WJOB 1230 AM, 104.7 FM from the beautiful Strachan Van Til Food Market Studios here in my alma mater, Purdue Northwest. Welcome, everybody. You're listening to Dave Kuziak Show. We're in the middle of some transition here. The owner's here, Jim. Some things will be going on with equipment and other things like that. So just please bear with us. And you guys know I like to play music. It gets me mentally ready, and I just like music anyway. But I guess because of trade rights and all kinds of other things and copyright and trade right and yada, 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 we can't do it yet. We'll see what's going on with that. By the way, I did listen. This is to Jim's ears. I was listening the other day to, and I'll talk about this, a town hall with Chris Cuomo, and he had on the retired Joe Manchin. And Jim, this is music to your ears. He was telling two YouTubers or whatever they are that Section 530 needs to completely be revamped. And if you don't know what 530 is, that's the one that allows the internet free reign to do whatever they want to do without being sued. And that's what's part of the problem with this country, why we're going so far right and so far left, is that people are making a bunch of money by being bombastic, and the internet shares no responsibility for that because legally they are covered. And I think if you're going to talk about trying to change some of the negativity that's going on in this country, it would start out with revamping and updating Section 530. But nonetheless, Joe, you were going to show people what the path if they wanted to listen or watch a game. And then also, I think it's important, are there places that we promote that are advertisers of ours that put the games on at their places of business?
I know that Docs does. Docs, I think will play some games if you ask them to. But I'm honestly not too sure about that. That's a good question. But I'm going to show them more about the WJOB side. So, anyways, you could either type this in, or if you have this little area here, you could just click that. But
so you hit Google?
I mean, you could be on Google. You could be on Safari. You could be on literally anything. You can be on the app. Just type in YouTube. Wait for this to load. Then you click the search bar at the top, WJOB 1230. And then you're going to look for the one with 172 subscribers, hopefully more. We have like an old account, but and look, here you are, live on the air, the Dave Kuziak Show. So you click on the page, and then this is our home page. So we have past live streams. I mean, everything is going to be categorized for you. But if you guys want, you can go to podcasts. There it is. There's all our podcasts.
So if they're gonna, so tonight there's gonna be like 7 icons that they click on for the games, or 8, and then that's the one that's going on.
On this, there's no sports. This is just our radio show.
Oh, okay. This is a radio show.
So yeah, if you guys want.
And then tonight, if they wanted to go, if they're doing, if your grandmother is in Connecticut or wherever she lives, or your mother, and she wants to watch the Andrean Lowell game, what would she do?
Same thing. If you guys are in Google, you're just going to type in JED TV into the internet. You're going to click on the first link, and then you go watch live, and then it'll pop up here, and then you'll have other ones that you can click on, but like obviously it's upcoming right now since
there's no games this morning.
It's 6:30 in the morning. Yeah. So these are all where all the games will end up being. And then you can even watch some other stuff that we've done.
How about this? Someone told me that Purdue basketball is ranked number 1 preseason.
Yeah, they're legit, man.
That's a kiss of death.
They are legit.
So there you go. That's what's going on here. If you want to watch some games tonight, if you want to listen or watch, and let's go to the phone lines, 219-845-1100 at 628. You're listening to Dave Kuziak Show. Good morning. You're live in the air.
Hey, good morning, guys. How are you?
Good.
Dude, I'm so glad you switched over to me. So I'm like, Dave's just going to keep talking, and I'm not going to be able to say this. So love the tutorial. One thing, though, when you guys give that tutorial again, and maybe, you should do that to where you can blast it out on the socials, is on your phone or on your smart TV, your Roku, whatever, when you're looking for YouTube, make sure you do the YouTube app and not the YouTube TV app. I know I'm a little older, so I'm kind of stupid, but when we first got all these all the smart TVs in our house. I was so confused I couldn't find anything on YouTube, and it's because I had the YouTube TV app up. And
I
not
do
YouTube.
the same thing still, caller.
Yep.
So one of them is white and one of them's black.
Yep.
And the one that so I have a big screen downstairs, and for some odd reason, and my daughter helped me with this, the icon that was for regular YouTube TV disappeared, and the one that was there is like the other YouTube TV, and it pisses me off every time that I hit it. And then I had to search and go to recent, and I have to figure out a way to get that one back in. Now my other TVs, it's the first one that comes up there's like 20 on the bottom, and it's the white with red, right? Isn't that what it is?
Well, if you want to watch Jed, yep, you're gonna do the white with the red. Make sure you do that, and then you'll be good to go. I'm so happy that they switched over. I like the Jed TV app. I mean, it was nice, but it honestly was still a little clunky. And YouTube, I watch all my podcasts and stuff I watch on there. They just got it nailed down. It's really organized and clean. So,
well, congratulations with that. We switched probably a year ago to YouTube TV. It saved us, I think, $130 a month or something. And I hate it. I like to go back and forth to games, and my wife used to hate watching TV with me because I'm one of those people that instead of going to the guide, I'll just go up and down the channels and surf. And when you have regular TV, you could do that, and there's no delay. Now, when you do it with YouTube, even if the two games are next to each other, it's still a delay. You know, like I was in Florida last week, and I was watching, unfortunately, my Sooners got their ass whipped by the Longhorns, and it was the same time that Indiana was playing Oregon. So I was going back and forth between those two games, and you have that little delay, which it irks the hell out of me. It really does. But nonetheless,
yeah, we just pay for streaming, except for March Madness. And then, like right now with MLB and their playoffs, we just get a new email address, sign up for YouTube TV for 1 month. So we got it for $45 this month. We'll watch MLB, and then we'll cancel it again until March Madness comes. And we'll.
So it is the world
real
of.
Quick before I go to work, if you don't mind.
Sure.
How about this guy driving the semi out in Porter that didn't have a CDL, and I think was even here illegally, and killed that poor guy.
When did that happen?
Say, oh, why is ice hanging out at truck scales? That's why, because there's a lot of those people out there.
When did that happen?
I think it was yesterday, the day before. It was in Region News Source yesterday, so maybe the day before. I don't know.
So I'm gonna have
He's a Polish dude.
I'm gonna have to. The guy that was driving was a Polish dude.
Well, I shouldn't say that. It looked like an Eastern European last name is what it looked like.
Because my understanding is there's been a lot of Serbian and Polish people coming over. They used to come over and do construction, and a lot of the people are finding it hard to find even construction workers because they came over and they've realized that they don't have to work as hard, and they've been driving trucks.
Yeah,
so,
they go buy their own truck, and so then they don't have anybody watching over them. Half of them can't even speak English. That's why you go into half of these places, they got signs in English, Spanish, and then Polish, and it's crazy, man. They're out there running the right sound. It's nuts.
Well, you know why they're in Polish and Mexican, and I say this, and I will not stutter when I say this. Polish and Mexican people are the hardest working people in the world.
Yeah, for free. They'll work for free all day long. All right, man. I got to go.
We'll see it. They are the hardest working people. Okay? And so if you were smart, you'd figure out a way to legally have these people that produce 2-to-1 on average. Do you understand what that means? They produce 2-to-1, if not 2.5-to-1. On a daily basis. So you tell me what civilization that has moved forward in the world gets rid of the people that work and keep the lazy ass slugs here. And tell me how that's going to work out. So I'm all for legal immigration. That's how our families did it. But I want anyone to tell me, we could talk about ICE and so the reason that this is all jacked up is the following. You have different levels of government fighting each other. Okay? You can't have that. If you wanted to have the proper way to go through immigration, clearly there are millions of people in this country that are undocumented. We saw this the last 3.5 years of the Biden, or the first 3.5 years of the Biden administration. They clearly left the border open, okay? And then they realized that they were in trouble, so then they closed it down the final 6 months. And then they sat here and told you that there was no way they could do it unless they passed this bill. Clearly that was false, because they did it themselves after they didn't pass the bill, and then the Trump administration came in and completely clamped down on it. So that was wrong. Now we have, 15, 20 million, who knows? But here's the reality of life. There are some people that have been here for 25 years that have worked their ass off, taking care of their family, they're part of the community. You can't treat those people the same that someone that just came over in the last 3 years. So you have to have a nuanced adult conversation about how we're going to deal with this. And right now, the Democrat and Republican Party are unable to have adult conversations. Hence, why there's a shutdown. And I would surmise that shutdown should not even be an option that is given to the Democrat and Republican Party. Because I already know, I hear it. The Democrats are protecting health care. Health care needs to be solved and improved. I agree. And if you're a Republican and you don't understand that, you're going to lose the midterms. Okay? If you don't believe that health care needs to be revamped and you go into the midterms, you're going to lose. At the same time, I understand the Republicans. It's a clean CR. I know it. They've done this. They're both hypocritical. I mean, of course they are, because they're the Democrat and Republican Party. There's no more hypocritical people in the world than those two. So, Joe, as we go to the phone line, I'm going to ask you to do something, because I want to talk about News Nation and the town hall that they had. And I was wondering if you can go into the town hall that was on Wednesday night and see if you could put in Google Stephen A. Smith when he got up, when he spoke, and then when he spoke of an issue, the shutdown, and then walked off the stage. I'll guarantee you that there will be a clip of that. There is no better way to describe how the people of the United States feel about the Democrat and Republican Party than the way that Stephen A. Smith spoke to, there was 3 Congress people, 2 Democrats and 1 Republican. Ro Khanna, there was a lady from Pennsylvania, and what's the wrestler from Ohio? Jim Jordan. And he did it in a very respectful way, but he exemplified and illustrated and verbalized what 90% of the American people feel about the Democrat and Republican Party. Okay? And I just want, before we go to the phone lines, I just want you to understand this about the shutdown. The clean CR, we're in deficit spending. Do you understand what, Joe, do you understand what that means? I know he's doing 2 things at one time. This is called multitasking. So you understand what deficit spending means. We're $37 trillion plus in debt, almost 38. That's the debt. The deficit is the difference of what we're spending as opposed to the budget or CR this year. So so one is an accumulation of all the years. So we're close to $38 trillion in debt. So these 2 parties have shut the government down, and here's what they're fighting over. One CR is spending more than we're bringing in. The other group wants to spend another $1.5 trillion added to it. That's what no one's even talking about that. So if you want to talk about what government has done, I can accumulate it for you over the last 25 years. The Democrats have been in charge. The Republicans have been in charge. Collectively, they're in charge of our money. They've bankrupted us. That's not an opinion. We're close to $38 trillion in debt. That is, being pragmatic, that is a number that they have accumulated together. They've been in charge of the money. In any other real-world experience, those people would have been fired and or put in jail. Okay? Then, let's say that they've been in charge of our education. We've never been dumber. The test scores are the lowest they've ever been. So for all those people that say we need the Department of Education, the Department of Education was put together in 1979 as Jimmy Carter was fighting against Kennedy, Edward Kennedy, for the nomination, for him to be renominated for the Democrats in 1980. And it was a gift to the unions. So let me ask you a question. Were we smarter as a country in 1978, or are we smarter as a country in 2025? Then let's talk about the CDC, and let's talk about the FDA and all the people that are involved with our food. We're the fattest we've ever been. We're the unhealthiest we've ever been. So let's sum up the Democrat and Republican Party over the last 25 years. And then if you want to talk about the wars, was it successful what we did in Afghanistan and Iraq? So what metric, and I'll open the phone lines at 219-845-1100, can you point to that you're saying that the whole setup, the macro setup of us fighting for the Democrats and Republicans to stay in office, why would you give the keys to, they're both driving you into the ditch. So why would you give the keys to either of them? They've bankrupted us. They've been in charge of our education. We're dumb as we've ever been. And they're in charge of our health, and we're the unhealthiest we've ever been. So what is it that they've done that you're fighting over? I don't know. In any other form of life, those people would have been arrested and put in jail if you did that at a company. And if you did it in your own household, the bank would have came and grabbed your house. But we have to hold them in high reverence as they run us into the ditch. It's pathetic. And they're fighting each other. I already know it's a clean CR. We've done it 16. I've heard the argument. I'm tired of it. You should not even be able to shut the government down. Number one, we should stop the bleeding. And we should start paying off our debt. So, Joe, your parents are listening. Your grandparents are listening. Here's what we have done for your generation. We have made life miserable. You get to take $100,000 out to go get in college debt to get a degree that's not going to get you a job. We then have housing where there's no starter homes anymore. All right? And we're leaving you with $38 trillion in debt. How does that make you feel? Put your microphone on. How does that make you feel? So my whole existence, I almost died, right? It's coming up on 5 years, November 3rd. My entire existence is to give a better life for my kids, my wife, my kids, and my grandson. I am going to leave them with way more than I was left. Okay? That's my goal personally. So as a country, we are going to leave your generation with $38 trillion in debt. And by the time I die, hopefully it's another 10 or 15 years, it'll be $50 trillion. So my question to you as we go to the phone lines is, when is enough debt? Are we willing to go to 50 trillion, 100 trillion? I'm throwing it out there. And then I'll give you the microphone. We're the dumbest we've ever been. We're the fattest we've ever been. And we're the brokest we've ever been. So why would you go to those two people that made us that way to try to solve the issue? They're not going to. And then if you're a Democrat, here's my question to you. There's going to be no King's Day this week or something like that? That's 5 years too late. It should have been no King's Day during COVID. There were no bigger set of kings and more kings in the United States of America than every mayor, governor, and every executive person that overexceeded their power in shutting people's businesses down, shutting schools down, being in charge of everything without who gave them the right to do that? That whole thing started out with 90 days to flatten the curve. So there were more kings ever during COVID. And I love all those signs. Keep your hands off my Medicare and my Social Security. They've been stealing from your Social Security since the beginning of time. 219-845-1100. Good morning. You're live in the air.
Hey, Mr. Kuziak.
Good morning.
Oh, how's things going back in my old stomping grounds of Northwest Indiana this morning?
It's beautiful.
Yeah, and there you go this morning, reeling on both parties.
Because
Just
they
like it seems
because
like I'm,
Dave because they
just like
suck.
it seems like I'm tending to do these days, too. Albeit for different reasons, but
So what say you?
well, yeah, you got corruption on both sides, unfortunately. I mean, I had my fortune of busting a Democrat over in Griffith back in the day, back several years ago, former Griffith cop who was also on the town council, and need we say any more about Trump's corruption?
The Trump family is going to make billions of dollars, okay? And so Donald Trump is this way. If you come after him and you don't kill him, he's going to kill you, okay? It's as simple as that. So the Democratic Party went after Trump, and they didn't kill him. So when they look back at this in 50 or 100 years, when you go after somebody in the political world and you don't kill them, they have a long memory. And let's look at who he's gone after. John Bolton just got indicted yesterday. Okay. Comey, Letitia James. And if you were one of those people that came after him, you're going to get looked at and you're going to get indicted. And it's tit for tat because when you look at during the Biden administration, if you were a Catholic, if you were against abortion, if you brought up the word Hunter Biden, then they came after you, right? And don't you remember at the end of the first Trump administration when the people that worked for the Trump administration, not only were they going after them, they actually told people and the companies that they should not even hire those people. Don't you remember that? People that worked in the first Trump administration, all they were doing was working for their government, making a living, doing public service, as they like to say. And then they told them because they worked in the Trump administration that they should no longer be able to make a living in this country for the rest of their life. They were going to openly name the companies that were giving those people jobs. So we're where we're at because we have two parties that suck. And the term that everybody uses is, what's the term when they're saying that it's not false equivalency? That's not the same.
Whataboutism or something.
And then
like
the
that?
other is whataboutism. So here's this. What about if the Democrats suck? And what about if the Republicans suck? What do you think about that?
Then we're both up, you know what's creek.
Is that where we're at?
That's what it sounds like hearing you talking.
Well, I mean, I'm very optimistic about this. Is still the best country in the world. I was talking with a guy yesterday that's originally from Northwest Indiana, from Whiting, Robertsdale. It's done very, very successful. Our kids are the same age. And we were talking about how we had both started in the mill, both started actually working for sucker truck companies. If you know what that is, it's the nastiest job that there is in the mill. And it was an upgrade when I went from doing that to roofing. Okay? And this is still the greatest country in the world. It allows a schmuck like me to work as hard as I have to be able to accomplish whatever it is I've accomplished. Okay? And the same thing for the gentleman I was talking to yesterday.
And don't forget about the First Amendment, too.
Well, the First Amendment is very, very
it's
good.
Part of what makes this thing great anyway, so.
Yeah, but I was going to get to that. What do you think about Pete Hegseth, the defense of he's in charge of the War Department. The Department of War.
Pete Hegseth's in over his head.
But what about the fact that he's making you sign something before you can cover them? Is that not an infringement on freedom of the press?
Yeah, it definitely is. It's infringement.
I don't even understand.
I would be surprised. I would not be surprised if Hegseth's eventually gone.
I don't know about that. I think that he's doing what he's been told to do. And
yeah, but I think the blowback from the press, about this is going to eventually prompt Trump to say, "This guy's embarrassing me. I got to fire him."
Isn't it like the cat's meow that a guy that made his living and made millions of dollars, by the way, at Fox News is going after the press as soon as he gets in a position of authority?
Yeah, I mean, what? I mean, it's like, Jesus Christ. It's like, what are you?
It's
what are
an
you doing?
unforced
I mean,
error. Why
don't
are
know?
you? What good is that doing? So, whether you like Trump or not, I had this discussion with the high-ranking Democrat yesterday, and I'll jump to this, Dave. I hear these people every day. I watch the cable news. I listen to different people, my customers. Everyone, there's going to be a No Kings Day. If everything that you say is right, and Trump and everything they're doing is wrong, I've been in politics a long time. What is your platform and or message, and who is your messenger? So if we look at who the messenger has been that's been very successful in the last 25 years in the United States of America, let's go 35. Okay, let's go 35 years. Clearly, Donald Trump knows how to communicate. Okay? He resurrected the Republican Party. In 2016, they said the Republican Party was done. It was never going to exist again. Here comes the guy and resurrects the party. In 2007, they said that the Democratic Party was over. There was no way they could ever win another race. And then there's a guy who knows how to speak and deliver a message, and his name was Barack Hussein Obama. Okay? And then in 1992, after 12 years of Republican rule, and again, they thought a Democrat would never get elected again. Here comes a guy from Arkansas,
Bill Clinton.
that knew how to communicate. So again, Dave, and this is to anyone else that wants to call in. If everything the Republicans doing is so egregious, then it should be very simple to do two things. What is your platform or message, and who is your messenger?
And I think that's the thing the Democrats are sorting through internally right now, to be sure.
Now, I'll tell you who speaks the best. And, Joe, were we able to find that clip of Stephen A? Okay, so here's what I'm going to do, and thanks a lot for the call, Dave. I'm not saying about what comes out of their mouth now. Make sure you understand what I'm saying here. I'm talking about the way they know how to communicate. Mayor Johnson is a very good communicator and a very good speaker in Chicago. Also, this Zoran Mamdani, is a brilliant communicator and brilliant speaker. And the best out of all of them is the final. Can we play this before we go to break, or are we going to play it as soon as we come out? When we come out, I want you to listen and or watch. This is Stephen A. Smith, Wednesday night, speaking to 3 congresspeople, 2 Democrat, 1 Republican, about the state of the United States of America and the state of shutdown. Continue to listen. You're listening to Dave Kuziak Show on WJOB, 1230 AM, 104.7 FM from the beautiful Strachan Van Til Food Market Studios. Welcome back. Welcome back. Thank you, Paul Goddard. I'm going to read Paul Goddard what he sent me about that wreck. Before we get to that, what I'd like to do is we'll take 2 calls, and then I want to play the Stephen A. Smith. Stephen A. Smith was on with Chris Cuomo and Bill O'Reilly on News Nation on Wednesday, and they had a bunch of different guests on. And Stephen A. spoke, and I just want to let his speaking speak for itself.
You want to do the video first?
Let's do the video first, and we'll go to the phone line. So this is for the Democrats, my Democratic friends. If you want to listen to someone that knows how to speak and someone that knows how to get a message across, and this is what the guy does for a living, and he's very good at it. And I think Stephen A., although he's making millions and millions of dollars with ESPN and his own show and podcast and everything else, I actually think that he's better in regular current events than he is in sports. So we'll go ahead and show that right now.
Government shutdown is going on right now. A man has to work on DoorDash when he's really an air traffic controller that we applauded, and we're up here talking about how much some money is going to cost, and the only person that don't have a check coming is him. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take a break.
All right. We'll go to the audience. It's good. I wanted to sit down.
So what was that the only thing they had? Because he spoke before that. But so what ended up happening, give you an indication. So they had audience come in, and there was an air traffic controller, 16-year veteran air traffic controller. He came up and he said, I am leaving here to go do DoorDash so that I can pay for my family's food, and I'm still working without getting paid. So in the United States of America, you had he spoke that I wish there was a bigger clip of it. There were the council, because he actually addressed the Congress people. There were three, and just so you know, Congress is getting paid. So this is why shutdown should not even be an option. Should not even be an option for our people that we elect to the office. And I'm not going to entertain. I'm not taking calls of whose fault it is. Okay, because I've been around long enough for shutdowns when both sides are taking the opposite side and then saying that their side is right and it's different than the other side. That's all BS. And if I could cuss, if this was, I would use the S word, because everything that's coming out of your mouth is BS. And my old man used to have a saying: "Cut the bull S."
I found a longer clip.
There you go. Let's see if we can play that one.
I'm trying to be very respectful to everybody because they deserve it.
Why?
Let me say that. No, because you deserve it. I just want to say.
There it is.
I'm trying to be very respectful to everybody because they deserve it.
Why?
Let me say that. No, because you deserve it. But let me say this. I don't think Washington understands how ticked off we truly are. Think about the conversation that we're having right now. You brought up the single-payer system, emulating Canada. You know, we're looking at a president that just gave $20 billion to Argentina. Mm-hmm. We're hearing about or witnessing what I consider to be a retribution tour. And even though to some degree I don't blame him because of how people went after him, still it appears to be counterproductive. We're listening to this kind of stuff while a young man walked up to the microphone and said that he had to leave here to go and work on DoorDash to help pay for his daughter's tuition. Meanwhile, everybody up here getting paid. But he ain't. This is this kind of stuff right here. That's how you know, and I'm not accusing any of you directly or personally of feeling this way. I'm just talking about the apparatus that is Washington, the nation's capital. This is why you have so many Americans, excuse my language, so pissed off at Washington, because somehow, some way, you get to have these conversations, engage in specific elements of it to talk about what we need to do to get things better. Our debt is $37.8 trillion. Somehow, some way, the taxpayer's been paying this, been throwing money, because we all look at our check, and it's been going to the government. And somehow, some way, you're supposed to be doing something constructive and productive enough to make sure that we don't have that kind of deficit. It isn't happening. A government shutdown is going on right now. A man has to work on DoorDash when he's really an air traffic controller, right, that we applauded, and we're up here talking about how much some money is going to cost, and the only person that don't have a check coming is him. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take a break.
All right. Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our News Nation app right now on your phone, and you will get
I should stand up and give a standing ovation for that. I could not say it better. This is your two-party system. A shutdown. A guy that is... I just came back from Destin, Florida. You don't think I was worried about what was going on when I was on that plane? So a guy that is going to determine which plane comes in, which plane comes out, has to work an 8-hour shift and then go do DoorDash because he's not getting paid. But those Congress people are. It's by law. You understand this? By law, they have to get paid. And we're putting up with this? And if they come back, the only thing they're doing is adding to the debt. There is no defensible either side. So these people are going to call it's the Democrats. It's both of them. Oh, I know it's false equivalency. One side has a higher moral high ground. This guy's a king. I've heard all the BS. It's the same thing. I used to wonder when I was 30 and I used to knock on doors and 25 and pass out flyers and try to get people elected. And I remember when people that were older would open the door and look at me and go, "What do you want?" And I'd say, "Well, I'm here to talk about someone that's going to improve your life." And they looked at me and they go, "You don't even know what you're talking about." Now I understand why they were so cynical. Because they've been through the same BS. 219-845-1100. Good morning. You're live in the air.
Good morning, Dave.
Good morning.
Here's a little proverb for you. If you import enough people from a third world country, you become a third world country. What do you have to say about that?
Import people. This country has been immigration. I'm for legal immigration. Okay?
Third world country. I'm talking a third world country. If you import enough people from a third world country, you become a third world country. Here's another thing that I have to correct you on, that you're kind of downing your own race. You should say, we know Mexicans are hardworking people, but you should say they're the smartest and hardworking people. I think you're taking away from them because they roof. I guarantee you at noon you'll catch me at a taco restaurant buying Mexican food, and I know they cut grass. So the next time you say that, you say Mexicans are the smartest and hardest workers, and so are the Polish people.
So I can't get into specifics of companies because there is an Illinois company, but because ICE is in, they're hiring people, and the slugs that haven't been working in this country for a long time are starting to come out. They are hiring 3 people to do the work of every one person that's not coming into work. Think about that for a second. They are bringing 3 slugs that haven't been working to do the work that one person was doing. So all I know is this. We have 20 million people that are undocumented, maybe 25, maybe 15. Maybe they've been here for 25 years. Maybe they've been here for one day. At the end of the day, what are you going to do? Work still has to get done.
If you don't,
So let me also tell you this. Here's what I have a guy that's doing. I have a guy that's doing a new construction job. Okay.
Yeah.
He says, "Hey, do you guys have any drywall guys that you can say?" I said, "Well, my guys are swamped." He said, "They've been trying to get a drywall company to come out and get them an estimate. They said that none of the companies are willing to be able to get out there because a lot of the guys that work for them are staying at home. So I'm all for legal immigration. I just want to know how new homes are going to get built. I mean, who do you think does the work in this country? You've been retired. I don't mean to be disrespectful to you, but your thought process of work is over. You're almost 70 years old. You're talking about when people worked in the mill. That group has retired. I'm talking about come into the real work world right now. Right now. And you tell me that you think that this, all these trucks drive themselves, all these lawns cut themselves, all this construction work gets done by itself. It's not. These kids, there's not American kids that are knocking on doors to come to work like it was when you and I were younger.
Right.
So
here's something. I became an apprentice. I became a journeyman. I became a craftsman, and then I became a master craftsman. Okay? If you work real hard, you have to be smart. Because if you're not smart, you end up working twice as hard. So the next time you say about Polish people and Mexican people that we're the smart, because I'm half Polish. My mom come from Poland. If next time you say that, because it makes me mad, I want you to say that Polish and Mexican people are the smartest and hardest workers. Some of your best rough framers out of 599 were Polish people, and they could put a house up in 3 days. I watched it.
I appreciate your call.
Do that for me?
I will do so. I appreciate your call. 219-845-1100. Good morning. You're live in the air.
Hey, Cruz. How's it going?
It's trying to get through, brother. Got through another week.
Just
got back from Destin, Florida. Let me tell you something.
Oh, God,
I've been to Florida 35 times in my life, if not more, and all over the state. I am really starting to like the Panhandle.
Oh, yeah.
But I digress. We were able to rent a place. My daughter, I told them I'd take care of it. They did the legwork, and she looked during Labor Day, and I don't know if it was a week before. I think it was a week before fall break, but it was half the price. So we got in. We went to Henderson Beach, if you're familiar with that area.
No, I'm not.
It's all on 98, Destin. You got Fort Walton, and you got all the other ones. And it's really cool because, there's, I think, a naval and an Air Force base over there. So you hear at night how loud some of those are. And during the day, you see all types of different planes. It's the home of the Blue Angels. And here's something that I didn't.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah.
Here's something that I didn't know. Do you know that the Blue Angels is the Navy?
Yeah, I knew that.
I as many times as I've seen them flying, it says right on there, you just think that since it's in the air that it's the Air Force.
Right, yeah.
So when you fly into Pensacola, the airport, we went in and we rented a car, and a guy, it's like whatever, what do you call it, where a guy rents his car. So whatever they call it, you know what I mean? Like, it's not Hertz or this or that. You're renting it from someone. The car was sitting in the economy lot, and right in front of the economy lot, they have a Blue Angel right there. And I really am liking the Panhandle, to be honest with you.
Yeah, perfect time of the year, too. It's beautiful right now.
80 degrees every day.
Oh, yeah.
It was what I needed, man. I'm going to buy down in Florida at one point. I just don't know where, but it definitely would be the Panhandle or the Gulf side. And Joe, don't take offense to this. I can't buy on the Atlantic side because you got all those people from Connecticut and New York and the East Coast, man. I'm sorry. I'm not saying all of them because I've been there and there are some nice people. Those people, I can't live the way they live.
Yeah,
I'm not good enough or smart. I'm not good enough or smart enough to deal with the people from the East Coast.
Yeah. But hey, a couple of things real quick that you were spot on. Number one, you're right. The whole No Kings protesters, you're late. You're a little bit late. Okay, so give me a break. You're going to a protest that is sponsored by the Chinese, by a communist sponsored event. So have fun with the commies. Number one.
So Terry,
And
let me
number
ask you a question. So no Kings. I lived through COVID. So
Yeah, so did
all that a mayor had to do, was use the word COVID, and they could either close something down, start something, not let you work out on equipment that was outside of the park. Don't you remember we had to wipe down? We would go get permits in Highland. We used to have to wipe down the paper. Think about how stupid this is. They had a container sitting outside on the outside, and they said you'd have to wipe it down before you put it in there. They shut businesses down. Okay, businesses for
church.
2 or 3
you
generations.
You couldn't even go to church.
You couldn't go to church. They didn't let people go to school, and they said it couldn't be done. But right down the school, Bishop Noel was having school every day. St. Stan's was having school every day. St. Casimir's was having school every day. But a half mile down the street of East Chicago Central, they couldn't have school. They were unable to do it. So you're gonna come and tell me you want to talk about the hypocrisy that there's a king in office now after you far exceeded your elected powers every single day. And don't you remember the shutdown was supposed to be for 90 days or 30 days to flatten the curve? And then you're going to sit here and tell me that follow the science. The science for an airborne virus is that you are supposed to be 6 feet away from each other, or you're supposed to wear these masks that are just keep dust out of your face. Give me you want to know what? Give me a effing break.
And don't forget, we had the greatest 4-year run of absolutely no cases of the flu. Don't forget that. It was miraculous. The flu just disappeared. Remember that. But, you're talking about, when I see what's going on, you can like or hate what's going on right now. But when I see them doing stuff to the Department of Education, the Department of Health and Human Services, and they're throwing the monkey wrench in it, you know what I say? Good. Because like you said exactly, what's been going on ain't working. We're the dumbest, we're the fattest, we're the most out of shape. So whatever's been going on for the past 40 years, it hasn't worked.
And then, now listen, I think Pete Hegseth is completely out of line with his making someone sign allegiance before a press conference. I completely think he's 1,000% wrong. But I also think that he's 1,000% right when he told the generals, you're supposed to be a general. You're supposed to be the example that you come in and you look slovenly. I say this to my guys all the time, even though we do construction. You're still representing the company. Look, when we used to roof when I was right out of high school and that, we used to take our shirts off. We looked like a bunch of yahoos because we were a bunch of yahoos. And we were getting a tan. You maybe have a cutoff, take your shirt off, you're sweating. Do you think that makes a company look good?
No. Now, because I do have one question for you about this Pete Hegseth thing, okay?
Yeah.
Now, I'm not familiar with it at all, but do they let reporters just roam around the Pentagon and ask people questions?
I don't know. That. All I could tell you is this. There's very few times that every news organization in the world or in the United States is on the same side. And I believe, and I could be wrong on this, that even Newsmax and Fox has joined NBC, CBS, and Associated Press, and all of them stating that what he's doing is wrong. Now, I understand that he's saying that some of those people really aren't part of the press. I agree with him. If you're going in there and you're asking questions and then you're reporting your own viewpoint, you're really not a part of the press, but you can't throw the baby out with the bathwater. You're going. Fox and Newsmax is going to go towards the right. MSNBC and CNN is going to go towards the left. It's just what and people have understood that. So if you get to, this is part of our problem. You get to watch whoever you want to watch, but at the same time, you can't come in and say you're for freedom of the press and then do what he's doing. I think it's an unforced error. I think the Trump administration has a lot of unforced errors. I think that if the Trump administration and the Republican Party wanted to stay in power for a very long time, what they should do is keep their 40% that they have every day and then slowly have some communication and some compromise so that you can get another 10, 12%, 15% so you could stay in power. People, I'm telling you this right now, if the Republicans die on the vine of I'm not going to help people with their health care, they are going to lose the midterm. They are going to lose the midterm. People's health care is nuts.
It's
okay?
crazy. Believe me, I know.
and if you listen to the town hall last week or 2 days ago on CNN where I played that clip of where Joe played the clip of Stephen A. Smith, Joe Manchin came out and he said, "Listen, we know how to solve it. I've been in Washington and I was a governor of West Virginia. I think he was even in the House. I don't know if he was a House of Representatives, but he's been at all levels of the government." He goes, "We know how to solve it." He said they just don't want to sit down and do it. So when you look at the money, people don't realize that healthcare in the United States of America is 20% of our GDP, which means 1 out of every $5 that is spent in the United States of America is spent on healthcare. The lobby that those people have, the money that they give, Washington and both parties are bought and sold. So let's look at this last race. Kamala Harris raised $2 billion with a B and lost.
Yeah.
So the Republicans have their donors, which tends to be United Healthcare, all the businesses, okay? And what's changed, and you got to follow the money, is that the Elon Musk and Microsoft and they were all with the Democrats, right?
Not no more.
Now, Elon was the first one that left the Democrats, and now did you see? And if you look back, it was about a month ago they had a meeting in the White House. Did you see Bill Gates' face when he had to sit 2 people away from Trump?
No,
he looked like he wanted to be anywhere else in the world other than sitting next to Trump and Zuckerberg. So all those people are with the Dems, and now they realize, you want to know why? Because they're competing in AI. They know that Section 530 could be. Do you understand if they change Section 530 and that if X or any of those places you could sue for damages, just like you can the gun manufacturers or other people, or even the pharmaceuticals like they did with the Sackler family and Purdue Pharmaceutical. If you do that could bankrupt them. So they are following the money. And so at the end of the day, business wins, follow the money. They've sold this country out, and we're at the point where we're the ones that are dealing with it. That's where we're at.
Hey, real quick before I let you go, I watched that whole town hall. I thought it was actually a good watch. I mean, considering there's really nothing good to watch these days, that was a good watch. One take that I did take from it is that I never thought I'd say this, the most level-headed, common-sense Democrat in the United States of America right now is John Fetterman.
He has to be. Because he has to be. First of all, he probably is. First of all, I believe that John Fetterman is Jewish. Okay, and his party is left. The Jewish faith used to be with the Democratic Party, lock, step, and barrel. So when you have the younger Democrats and progressives come in, like Zoran Mandami, they're with the Palestinians, and they're with Hamas. So you can't reconcile those things when Hamas says their number one goal is to wipe Jews off the face of the earth. So this is going to be real interesting when Mandami becomes the mayor of New York. First of all, I could care less who the mayor of New York is, just like the people in New York could care who the mayor of Hammond is, right?
Yeah.
They live over there, we live over here.
New York is going to turn out looking just like London or Paris right now. and it's not good over there.
But my point is that Fetterman is he was very well spoken, and clearly he's had a stroke. I mean, you could tell.
Yeah.
But he definitely is a voice of reason. And if the Democratic Party wants to get back in charge, they may want to listen to him a little bit.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Hey, have a good one, brother.
All right, thanks a lot. 219-845-1100. You're live in the air.
Dave Kuziak, how are you, my friend?
Life is good. I just got back from Florida on Tuesday, 5 days in the sun. It did not disappoint. Nice. It came out every single day. Spent some time with my kids, my wife, my kids, my son-in-law, and every single morning at 5 a.m., my 21-month-old grandson pushed the door open and said, "Papa," and I said, "Come on over here, throw me the balls." It was a great time.
Yeah. One thing I love about Florida, you can set your watch by the 2:30 every day. There's like a little rainstorm, then it goes away. It's like 2:30.
You could see it. We were right on the water, so you can kind of see where it was hitting. And I don't want to live in Florida my whole life, but I most certainly would like to be able to go to Florida whenever I want to. So I'm waiting for the bust to happen, and it's going to, and then that's when I'm going to purchase something.
Yeah, I'm gonna, living with a teacher, I'm gonna throw some red meat at you. What Terry said earlier, that the CDC, Department of Education, it's failing. You know what's failing our children? Their parents.
That's the first thing.
Why would you want to depend on the government for anything? My mother raised 4 kids when my dad left. You think she never went on public assistance? That was back in the day when neighbors would come and give you a big tray of lasagna, right? I mean, that's when you took care of each other. And obviously the worm turned during the mid-'70s and things, but it's parenting. We need parenting classes, right? And never depend on the government for anything. Everyone asks me, what president when are you better? What president were you really better off? I didn't depend on any of them. I mean, starting with Ronald Reagan, when I started in the workforce, I didn't depend on any president to better me. I did all that on my own. I never went to college. I went to work for a living. And if you wanted more, if you wanted a nicer house, you worked harder. Period. I know it sounds old school and I sound like a curmudgeon, but it's really not that different today. You just have to work harder.
I will say the one thing that's different, Dave, today is, I was talking about this with some people the last 2 weeks. I bought my first house in 1995 in Roxana for $71,000. It was a safe neighborhood. The first thing I did, start Neighborhood Crime Watch back up, was a member of Citizens in Action, member of Residents for Clean Air, and we started having safety meetings. Citizens in Action started getting real involved with day-to-day government. We had emissions from, which was Stauffer Chemicals at the time. It turned into Rhone, Planck, then it turned into Rodea. They removed us twice in the middle of the night because they had emissions that came out. We lived right there. $71,000, and it was in a safe neighborhood. These kids today can't find a starter home that many people feel safe in for less than $200,000.
I agree.
I mean, that is different than when we first did. You lived in Hessville, and Hessville is an offshoot of Hessville was built because East Chicago was built out. There was no more places to live. East Chicago had 67,000 people at its height, 68,000. There were no more places to live. So they started building Hessville. And
in 1997, I bought my first house in Highland, and that was 120. Now, it was a very small house, but that's the first house that I bought. And I'm just pulling into work. I'm going to a couple more things I want to hit. There's a couple more things I want to hit. This government shutdown, and you're right. They're both to blame. Both sides are to blame. But this is the only time the Democrats have any power. And this thing that Johnson is saying, plus he won't confirm the new representative because she'll be the swing vote to release the Epstein files. He's adamant about that. He is not going to confirm her. That's just the way it is. But this is the only time being a supermajority. Now remember that. We just don't have a supermajority in Indiana. We have a supermajority in Washington. So how the Democrats are blamed for this is
well, they don't
rich.
have a supermajority because a supermajority would be 60 votes in the Senate. So they wouldn't even need. So in Indiana, they don't even need, the Democrats don't even have to show up. A supermajority means you don't need the So, and I was listening to Manchin the other night, and the 3 Congress people said, we need to get rid of the filibuster. And Joe Manchin looked at him and said, you're all wrong. He said, the way that the Senate was created was the House was always supposed to be hot, and the Senate was meant where everything was supposed to cool down. And getting 60 votes, so they need, I think they only have, 53? They need 7.
Yeah.
They need 7 Democrats. Supermajorities, when President Obama was first in, they didn't need any Republicans to pass something.
When I mean supermajority, I mean all branches.
Yeah,
right?
they're in control of all branches of government.
Yeah.
That is correct.
Yeah. So, and this is the only time the Democrats are holding out. Now, you being, you own your business, you're a salesperson, you're also wise when it comes to political things. And when the Republicans, especially with health care, and that's the third rail right now. So, we would rather talk about $200 million ballrooms and giving Argentina $20 billion.
40.
When Argentina
40.
is 40. And when Argentina is absolutely going to the bank selling beans to China right now. So, you look at that, right? And the Republicans say, hey, we'll give you everything you want. Just reopen Congress. Who in the hell would believe them? That's like saying, here, buy this car, and I'll let you know what's wrong with it after you buy it from me. That's just not going to happen.
Listen, we're in a conundrum. I don't think you should be able to shut the government. I don't think that should be an option. I really don't. I just don't believe that it should be an option.
Oh, I agree.
And
I agree.
I was talking about this the other day with someone. This whole thing of that you have to agree with me on everything. I mean, Marjorie Taylor Greene is actually coming out and sounding like the person of rational thinking because what she's
Isn't
saying.
That crazy?
Because what she's saying is correct. Because I guarantee you, she lives in a very poor district. I guarantee you that those people are coming. I could tell you this right now. We pay $1,800 a month for our insurance, and my wife and I each have a $7,500 deductible.
Yeah.
I mean,
hey, buddy, I got a jet. You go on to somebody else. Thanks,
all right,
man. Have a great weekend.
Joe, we got another caller. Are we going to break? One more. Are we going to break? All right, we got to take a break. It's 7:32. You're listening to Dave Kuziak Show on WJOB. He's Joe Smino. I'm Dave Kuziak. You're listening to 1230 AM, 104.7 FM from beautiful Strachan Van Til Food Market Studios here at my alma mater, Purdue Northwest. Welcome back to the Dave Kuziak Show. It is 7:37. You're listening to Dave Kuziak Show, 1230 AM, 104.7 FM. He's Joe Cimino. I'm going to do the weather. He's going to do the traffic. It currently is 57 degrees. Today's partly cloudy conditions. The low feels around 49. Today should be a high of 73. This weekend's going to be a very wet one, and that is really causing problems because I need to finish a job because I need to be on one on Monday, but that's not going to happen. There's an 85% chance of precipitation tomorrow with a high of 70, and Sunday, 95% chance. So not much is going to get done outside this weekend, but we are behind on the rain, so we need it. And I guess the thing to say is if it's going to rain in the construction industry, raining on the weekend's better than during the week. Monday gets back to 64 and sunny. That is your WJOB weather. And with the traffic, Joe Cimino.
Okay, doing my least favorite thing, the traffic. We're going to have some buildup on Klein Avenue North and South near Highland. But on your way into Chicago, you're not going to catch too much on the 41. But on 94 West, you will pick up some traffic near Hometown going into 94 West, where you will pick up even more traffic basically all the way through Chicago. The rest of it seems pretty clear. 57 North looks pretty good heading into the city. So is the Tri-State Tollway North, the Stevenson Expressway. It only kind of picks up once you're really in the city. So as far as getting into the city, you should be fine. But once you're there, obviously expect some traffic around this time of day. And that will be your traffic for the week.
All right, before we go to the phone lines, I want to thank Paul Goddard for sending me this. We talked about this earlier. Man killed in multi-vehicle crash on US 20, semi-driver charged with reckless homicide and held on ICE detainment. This out of Portage. A man was killed Tuesday afternoon following a three-vehicle crash on US Highway 20 near Douglas Drive that investigators say was caused by a semi-driver without a CDL attempting to illegally pass traffic, according to court documents filed Wednesday. Around 1:25 p.m. on October 15, 2025, Portage police and fire units were dispatched to the intersection of US 20 and Douglas Drive for a serious crash involving a white Freightliner semi-tractor with a refrigerated trailer, a black Subaru, and a white Ram Sprinter van. Responding officers arrived to find the Subaru crushed on the driver's side, the Sprinter van pushed off the roadway and into a business sign for Clean Air Car Check, and the semi jackknifed across both westbound lanes. The driver of the Subaru was pronounced deceased at the scene. Officers confirmed the collision required an extended recovery effort due to the severity of the vehicle damage. The deceased driver was identified by the Porter County coroner as 54-year-old Jeffrey S. Eberly of Mishawaka. Investigators obtained surveillance video from a business located nearby. According to the affidavit, the video shows the eastbound Ram Sprinter van slowing to a stop in traffic. Moments later, the white Freightliner can be seen rapidly approaching from behind. Instead of stopping or changing lanes to the right, which was open, the semi-driver moved into the westbound lane, crossing into the opposing lane in an attempt to pass the stopped van. The video shows the Freightliner striking the black Subaru head-on, pushing it north towards Douglas Drive before jackknifing and slamming into the rear of the Sprinter van, which was thrown into roadside signage. The driver of the semi, Borko Stankovic, 41, told police he owned both the truck and a company called Move RPM Inc. However, officers discovered he was carrying only a regular Illinois license marked Federal Limits Apply, not a commercial driver's license CDL. Investigators further found no record of Move RPM Inc. in federal DOT registries and determined Stankovic was not authorized to operate a commercial motor vehicle. He was read Indiana's implied consent law for fatal crash investigations and transported to Northwest Health Portage Hospital for a blood draw. Detectives concluded that Stankovic operated a commercial truck without proper licensing or authorization and made an illegal reckless maneuver that caused the fatal collision. Court filings state his actions show disregard for training and safety requirements necessary to handle a large vehicle on a 45-mile-per-hour roadway. On October 16, 2025, the Porter County Prosecutor's Office filed formal charges against Stankovic for reckless homicide level 5 felony, criminal recklessness level 5 felony. While sorting out the CDL information, ICE got involved and added a detainer to him. All defendants are presumed innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. The investigation involved the Porter Police Department, Indiana State Police Motor Carrier Enforcement Division, and the Porter County Prosecutor's Office. That is from Paul Goddard. Thank you very much. 219-845-1100. That's kind of scary there, Joe. Someone driving 80,000 pounds without the proper training and certification. You know, those things happen when you don't have the proper training and certification, and I feel bad for the family. And that guy is going to be going to jail for a very long time. 219-845-1100. Good morning. You're live in the air.
Good morning, Coos. How you doing?
Good.
You know, I got to bring up something because I feel like so many times people are playing checkers and nobody wants to bring out the chessboard. And I know you're just a man to play a little chess when it comes to some of these political thinking. And I don't want to get into the debate back and forth, Democrats, Republicans, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, we know that. But I'm just going to ask you, you've been around the game a bit. I've been around longer. Do you think from a political smart strategy, it's a smart thing for the mayor of the city of Hammond to basically, in my opinion, just start a fight with the current administration in this city, in this state, where to Dave's point, supermajority, President Trump doesn't forget, he will not forget, for him to tell local people and or law enforcement, because ICE and or the Border Patrol is law enforcement, to basically stay off the property when they already did, which was his request to get off, where he extended it, puts this proclamation out through the city council. Is that a smart political move in your opinion?
So Mayor Tom is a type of individual, and he's been mayor for 20 plus years, and we kind of came on the scene. I mean, I was involved prior to that in East Chicago and in Lake County and stuff like that. But we're the same age. He's had, I remember when we actually ran at the same time. I ran for, I think, town council in Munster in 2004 when he ran for mayor. And I had won the Democratic nomination, and then we soundly were defeated by 900 votes. The complete sweep by the Republicans against us. He ends up pulling off a victory, and I remember the front page the next day because I was still doing radio then. And there was a picture of him, Al Salinas, and Anthony Higgs. And Tom was young, good-looking guy that worked harder than Mayor Diedlow. The city was also turning from Republican to Democrat, and the mayor still had his dad, who was very influential at that time still, and he was very successful. I think if you look at his tenure, I think Hammond is really done well. I think that you look at Wolf Lake, you look at, even though he campaigned against Mayor Diedlow in the golf course, look at that's better than a slag heap like it was, okay, across from Wolf Lake. If you look at where the Kennedy apartments were, even though Mayor Diedlow started that, then we went into a recession. Where everything down at Kennedy now is 1,000 times better. I think that it came out in the paper yesterday that he's looking for a $100 million investment on Calumet Avenue, which would be better than 2 old buildings that sat there. So I think that he does very, very well when he focuses on Hammond and he focuses on the development of Hammond, and he's a big thinker that way. I think that the mayor gets himself in some trouble when he starts to weigh into things that are outside of that. And I'll give you an example. I think that he was on the wrong side of going against Gary for Gary to get the convention center. And this is why we lose down in Indianapolis. Do you realize, and a lot of people don't realize this, that the Republicans who are in the supermajority, if you would have told me this, I would have called you a liar. They were giving us $100 million. Okay, they're in the supermajority. They were giving us our money back instead of going to the general fund, $100 million. And do you realize, to the city of Gary, do you realize that the two entities that were the strongest opposed to the city of Gary getting that was the city of Hammond, which is a Democratic stronghold, and the mayor of East Chicago, which is a Democratic stronghold. Now, to be fair, the council in East Chicago voted in favor of it, but the mayor, who's the executive. So the two largest, outside of Gary, Democratic strongholds in Lake County were the two largest voices to oppose the other Democratic stronghold, and $250 million, which is going to turn into a $500 million investment on 8094, where everybody's going to win. So I think he was on the wrong side there. He wades into this. I don't think that there's a win for him. Here. What I would say is the following. We are here. I think this, of all the mayors, I think sanctuary cities are a bad thing. I think what needs to happen is the following. If we're going to solve immigration, we have to, what we keep dealing with is micro problems, micro solutions. You'll never solve a macro problem with micro solutions. We need to make a deal where we would say the following. I've heard this my entire life with immigration. We need to shut the border off, number one. Okay, we did that. So now we have people that have been here for 30 years, 40 years, 20 years, 10 years, 5 years, and 1 year. We need to have the cities and the federal government working together to say, well, let's have a compromise. If you don't want us coming in strong-handed into your communities, then work with us. We have a list of who we want. Some of those people are in jail, like this right here, this guy that just killed somebody. They're saying he's undocumented. Do you think that Indiana should work with ICE so that this guy, after he's going to go to jail here and then he's going to be deported, right?
Yes.
So why doesn't Illinois say, I want to make a deal with you. We're going to give you all the people on your list. We're going to work with you. And you're not having that. So then you have to have those guys go in. So to sum up your question directly, I think the mayor of Hammond has been a very good mayor. I think that when he focuses on the mayor of Hammond and being the mayor of Hammond, he's very good. When he lacks regional thinking, which is what he did during – so he's going to be known probably as the most prolific mayor in the history of Hammond. He's already got that notched out. He's going to be the mayor for the rest of his life if he wants to.
Totally agree.
The rest of his professional life. I think if he wanted to leave his mark even larger than it is, I think the final 8 to 10 years of his professional political life, he would be known as a regional thinker. And we would go down state together and say, what can we do together? Let's sit at the table together and say, how can we all win?
Right.
And instead of fighting each other on this convention center, whatever development that comes in along Calumet Avenue, which is right where I grew up, the Borman and Calumet Avenue, why don't we work together with Calumet Avenue, with Indianapolis Interchange, with Kennedy Interchange, Klein, and into the Burr Street with this convention center?
But Kuz, I don't know if it's just something locally that some of these individuals just can't comprehend, because Tom Homan initially, repeatedly stated exactly what you said. Let us in the jails. But the progressive governors, such as Pritzker's, and now Mayor Tom sort of entering the fray, he asked that. ICE, Border Patrol, has no interest whatsoever in being on our streets. If they would have allowed them into the jails. I have a godson who works for the Department of Homeland Security. He's told me repeatedly, he's originally from the region, repeatedly the problems that exists with the illegal immigration, the trafficking of human beings. So this is nothing new, to your point. But what shocks me a little bit specifically about the mayor of the city of Hammond, I've always considered him a pro-law enforcement mayor. Despite the name of his podcast, Left of Center, I never considered him to be a left of center type of individual. Now, the judge, his wife, yes. His daughter, yes. Kevin Smith, yes. His former chief of staff, yes. But I never considered him to be left of center. So I'm thinking in my mind, this is my little thinking, because I'm thinking political, the party at the national level, the Democratic Party, has lost their mind, in my opinion, for years. Mayor Tom repeatedly was trying to bring them back. He stated it on many programs. We need to compromise. We need to come to the middle, blah, blah, blah. I don't know if he's just realized that party's gone too far to the left, so he's trying to outflank our congressman to be left of him to see a future political endeavor, because this is totally uncharacteristic of him.
Yeah, but Mike, he has nowhere to run.
But the thing
yeah,
is,
but no, look at the political thing here. When you're in Northwest Indiana, the Democrats are a stronghold, but the state of Indiana is not. You're not. He ran for the seat after Congressman Wasowski decided to retire. He lost to Frank Mervan.
Right.
And I talked to some people off the record yesterday, and here's what my prediction is going to hold. I think the Republicans are making a mistake on this, but I think it's going to happen. They are going to redistrict.
Yeah.
And I was told by someone very high up in the Republican Party that they believe that they have the district that will beat Frank.
Okay.
So what they're doing is they're taking almost all of Lake County north of 8094 and Porter County and shoving it to the other district. And basically 8094 or Ridge Road may be the new district, and they're going to shoot Frank straight due south. They believe, this is coming from, I'm not a member of that party, nor do I know the insides other than talking to people who are in the inside. They believe that they have the votes to make this happen, and they have the redistrict to beat Frank.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's what they're saying.
Okay.
Now, there's a lot of things that have to happen for that to go, but this is the world we're in. Everybody's taking the Democrats are doing it to their states now. The Republicans are doing it to their states, and it's a basically blood sport.
Right.
So Mayor Tom has nowhere to run. He ran for Senate. He has zero chance at winning for that. He's not going to run for Congress as long as Frank's in there. And if Frank gets beat because they redistrict, there's no way that first of all, I don't even think the Mayor Tom's going to be in that district.
Right.
He's going to be in the one that's the other number 2 or whatever they call it. So he really has nowhere to go. It's a lot of people.
So could this be desperation?
So a lot of people consider this like Mayor Pastrick in East Chicago. He could have been mayor the rest of his life. Mayor Tom is the same age as me. We're 56.
Right.
He's got a couple years left, I think, on this term that gets him to 58. If he runs one more term, that gets him to 62. If he runs 2 more terms, which I think he can win, that gets him to 66. He had a very good life. He will have been the longest mayor in this history of Hammond, and that's not a bad life.
Right.
That's what I think is going to end. That's how, politically, I think that's how Mayor Tom's political professional life's going to end.
And I totally agree, but my point is he could have done the same thing, being the 100% pro-law enforcement type of individual from Northwest Indiana. He could have stated, my police department is not actively working with any other outside agency to apprehend our people within our city and town and state. He didn't have to comment because he commented initially on something that happened in Chicago when he called them they look like clowns. So this was even before.
Yeah, but if you look at his history, the mayor's never shy about giving an opinion, whether it's with his party or not.
Law enforcement coups, he's never. I know it's separate, but
he was smoking weed in another state when it's illegal in the state that he actually lives in and resides in. And I'm okay.
Yeah.
I believe that marijuana should be legal.
Yeah, I don't care about.
And I've said this all the time. I've been getting high for 37 years.
Well, yeah.
I mean, longer than that. I started getting high.
I
started getting high the summer of '84.
Right, I got you.
So,
The thing is, when people judge that, that's ridiculous because it used to be a time when if you was an FBI agent, I had people in my family that were, if you had one joint in one time in your life, you're barred. Then we got fast forward. I've talked to people from the police commissions. They said, look, if you smoke joints, we don't give a darn. Just admit it.
Hey, here's the best thing about Lake County Police. Every time there was a bust of 150 pounds of marijuana, by the time it got to Lake County, it went in as 15 pounds.
Right, 15 pounds, exactly. Exactly. I mean, right. So
everybody got their cut. Everybody got their cut.
And then when you bring it up, people act like, oh, you're talking about the old days. Well, okay.
Do you know that in East Chicago, when I was in the 90s, that was when caller ID came up? Do you know that when they would go do a bust, the first thing that they would do is go into the house and hit caller ID and write down all the names and numbers?
Exactly.
Do you know that many times, you know what number would come up? The East Chicago Police Department.
Right.
They were literally dropping a dime. There were people in East Chicago that used to knock the other side off so that their friends could make money.
Exactly. It's funny because I read a social post by a former cop from the city. He said, talking about how many people he busted doing blah, blah, blah. I'm thinking, you don't realize a lot of the outside agencies didn't even want to notify you. I could tell you of undercover operations at the former Busy Corner in the harbor that were active, active. And guess what? East Chicago Police Department didn't know nothing
Mike,
about it.
we just by chance, a lot of what I know is just because by chance. I was just involved with a lot of people that knew a lot.
Right.
And so here's a perfect example. When we lived in Munster, we had many neighbors, but the last neighbor that I had when I lived at my mom's house was Chuck Amdahl.
Right.
He was the head of the FBI in this area.
Mm-hmm.
And him and my dad would talk. And I remember when he called my dad over one day and said, hey, Tony, you need to go talk to your guys over at 1011. We know that there's, cut the crap out.
Mm-hmm.
So he'd go in and tell him. So my aunt, who's still living, and this is in the 90s, she would go to City Hall and say they're selling drugs on Alcott and 150th. They're selling drugs. So they threw a Molotov cocktail through her picture window at 1:30,
Mm-hmm.
and my dad, of course, calls Chuck and says, hey, here's what's happened. This is from the head of the FBI.
Mm-hmm.
Chuck Amdahl said to my dad, tell your sister-in-law to get the insurance money and move south.
Right.
Because the people that I need to go talk to in East Chicago about this are probably a part of it.
Yep. See?
Now, this comes from the head of the FBI.
Right.
Okay? And
but if you bring that up on this airways, you're talking about what you heard, it's wrong. Like I said, Coos, I never speak to you other than what I've seen with my own eyes, or I personally read, or I'm there. I don't just speculate. You know what I'm saying? But it's easy to poo-poo.
Do you know what, Mike? Do you know what kind of money they were making on those drugs?
Right.
They were paying police officers back then $30,000 a year.
Right.
They could make that on one drug deal.
Right.
And here's how I'll tell you another example. I'm sitting at Euclid Tap. This is probably 25 years old, maybe 30. And I'm sitting next to Juan Salazar, who's family-owned Euclid Tap.
Mm-hmm.
He's passed away since then. He's, I think, Class 88 Bishop Mill guy. And we're talking about this because we're trying to save the world. We're still in our 20s. And we're trying to save the world.
Yep.
And our community. He said, Dave, let me tell you something. He said, I got pissed off one day, and I know where they're selling drugs because I live right here. My family's owned this bar. And I went and I was on duty, and I said, I'm going to go stop that. He went to his radio and said, I'm so-and-so. Officer so-and-so going. They called him and said, get your ass out of that area. You haven't been okayed to go over there. It was all part of the game. I'm not saying everyone was dirty, but the money was going all the way up to the Lake County Sheriff. Okay? They knew who was selling drugs. They knew who wasn't selling drugs. They knew who they wanted to put out of business. They knew who was doing prostitution. They knew who was doing gambling, and they allowed it. Okay? Until the boats came in. When the boats came in, that ended all of the gambling.
Right. And you think, Kuz, you're talking crap. The gentleman you just mentioned, officer, from the Little Calumet section of East Chicago, correct?
He lived in the harbor, I believe. I thought they lived. I don't know. Did they live upstairs from the bar? I don't know.
The Taekwondo guy, right? Black belt.
I don't know that. I know that his name was Juan Salazar, and his father was Juan Salazar Sr., and unfortunately, Juan has passed away.
Yeah. But the thing is, Kuz, and I'll get off after this, but it's just so sort of frustrating that, because I hear people say, I heard a criticism of all you guys on the radio that want to talk numbers and bring up the debt. People don't want to. We just want to laugh and have fun and forget the debt. My point is, that's the problem. We just want to move on and act like we're all good, everything's good, the country's good. These younger people that get in the middle of the average rent in a neighborhood that you, me, or 90% of the people that own that station would ever live in, the hood, 2-bedroom, 1 bath in the hood, $1,300 a month plus $1,300 up front security deposit, no evictions, no nothing. Take it or leave it. Plus, we're going to do a criminal background check in the hood.
$1,300 in the hood for a 2-bedroom.
Yes, sir. Thinking what I'm saying. So when you're talking earlier to the young gentleman,
I think my mortgage was $465.
Right.
When I was in 1995 for a house of 71. And interest rates, I want to say I was like paying 13% or 11% or something.
You're right.
And paying PMI.
Don't forget the PMI.
As being Polish, I'm politically, it kills me. So I worked like hell to pay down the principal, and the interest rates started going down, and I got enough to get to 20%. And I remember having a party when I got done with PMI.
And it's funny, you're playing PMI to banks that are have a lot more money than
you're insuring. PMI is you're insuring your own loan.
You're insuring your own loan, and then we bail the banks out because they're too big to fail. So we bail them out. Now the banks that were too big to fail are bigger than ever. Ask your banker buddies. You remember the community banks?
They're making more money than they've ever made.
They're making more money than they ever made. They got rid of all the community banks, the this, that, and the other, and the banks that used to supplement the new up and coming businesses in the community. The banks that used to, God forbid, if the old days when the banks used to. You play for Gary National Bank. You play for Junedale Tel. You play for Euclid. God forbid.
I'm with 2 independent banks. I'm with Centier, and I'm with American Community.
Right.
So that's the 2 banks that Kuziak Construction, Kuziak Properties, and Dave Kuziak deals with. They're independently owned. I could still pick up the phone and talk to someone that knows who I am, and I will continue to do that. I don't know how much longer we're going to have independent banks, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Anyway, thanks a lot, Mike.
Thank you.
219-845-1100. It's time for a break. We talked about a number of issues. Here's a real good thing. I don't know if you saw this. This flew under the radar. The Lake County Commissioners and Lake County Council buried their lawsuits against each other. Remember how I'm always saying we sue each other? Well, we're no longer paying attorneys for us to sue each other, because that's really what we're doing. When those 2 branches of government were suing each other, basically you had taxpayers we're suing each other. We're suing ourselves. So a golf clap that the commissioners and the council decided to, I don't know, after 5 years or whatever it was, and hundreds of thousands of dollars to attorneys. Joe, I revert back to my father all the time. He said there's 2 types of people in Lake County that make money. He says it's always the attorneys. The attorneys always make money in Lake County. They get paid no matter what. So that you want to be an attorney, Joe? Why not? It's boring. They're in the middle of everything. Attorneys rule the world.
No, that's not what interests me.
What are you going to do with your life?
Hopefully something along the lines of this, maybe more in a sports-oriented field, But
So there's a bunch of people that worked here before you that have made it to some very high-ranking. There are people that are sitting in my seat that made it to the highest spot in the media world. Do you know that?
I mean, I know that there are some producers that have done well for themselves and moved on to bigger companies, but I didn't know
This has always been a training ground.
Yeah.
And there's a guy named Frank Reynolds who made it to where David Muir sits today. He was the number one guy, and he started out here right down the street. And quite a few people. So anyway, we'll take a short break, and we're entering into our final hour. And we'll see what time I got to go. I got to get some materials to a job. I may get out of here about 8:45. We'll see. You're listening to the Dave Kuziak Show. He's Joe Cimino. See, Joe, I give you equal. What do they call that? Equal naming or whatever it is.
I don't know, but I appreciate the shout out.
All right. So Joe Cimino, other than the fact that he went to Andrean, he's a pretty nice guy. Hey, also, are you looking for a significant other?
Why?
Well, he's a good-looking dude. I mean, why don't you put yourself out there?
We'll see. I'm trying to lock in, get to the money right now.
Oh, you're worrying about the money right now? You're not worrying about
money and graduating.
Hey, before we go to a break, I just want to say this to my old lady. Homemade torta last night and homemade pork tacos, out of this world. Out of this world. And you go, girl, and those people are like, why are you calling her an old lady? Let me tell you what my wife tells me, and this will be true till the day I die. My old lady says this: you can call me whatever you want. There's two things that are going to be absolute for the rest of our existence. One, you're always going to be older than me. I'm 21 months older than her. And number two, she's always going to look younger than me and better looking. And I'll say I'll deal with those two things. So, hey, a golf clap to the beautiful cooking that you did this week. Last night, homemade torta, out of this world. On the out right after making homemade pork tacos. Woo-hoo-hoo! It's been a good week there, kid. Stick around for more of the Dave Kuziak Show on WJOB 1230 AM 104.7 FM from the beautiful Strachan Van Til Food Market Studios. Welcome back, everyone. It's 8:15. I got good news for all of you. Cal College is coming on at 8:30. That's good for you if you don't like listening to me or you've had enough. And it's good for me because I need to go pick up some materials for a job. So Mayor Steve Spebar with Brian Lowry will be coming in at 8:30. And they will be talking all things Cal College and all things Whiting, Robertsdale. So you could look forward to that. 219-845-1100. We'll leave the phone lines open for the next 15 minutes. We can talk about anything that we've talked about so far. I think it's been very interesting. Are you, Joe, let me ask you this question. What is your thought process on ICE? And number one, that's the first part of it. I'm asking you, Joe. And then number two, you look Hispanic because you are. Do you worry about someone asking you for your ID?
No, I think I'm white enough.
You're white enough?
Yeah, but hold on. I'm trying to figure something out.
Oh, okay. So you don't want to be part of the program?
I'm doing a little bit of production stuff, so.
Okay. So let me throw this out there for anybody because it's important because it's affecting a lot of people's lives. Where do you think the line should be with ICE? Do you think that ICE should be able to come in and grab anyone that they want? Do you think that you should have to prove that you're an American? Do you think that where's the line at? Because I understand immigration. I am for legal immigration. I want to make sure people understand this. I am for legal immigration. And here's the problems that the Democratic National Party had about immigration. By leaving the border open, they were saying that they thought that all those people that were coming in were going to be their voters. Joe, we took a Uber or whatever it was to the airport. And the gentleman that was driving, we're talking, I'm sitting in the front seat. And we start talking about immigration because we're driving through Chicago, going to O'Hare. And I said, where are you from? Because I could tell that he goes, I'm from Pakistan. He said, do you want me to tell you my opinion on immigration? I said, sure. He said, my father did it the right way. Do you know how long it took him to do it the right way? And to make sure that our family could be here legally. And here's the thing that a lot of people don't understand about Hispanics. The Hispanics that did it the legal way, and it took years, are some of the biggest people that are against illegal immigration. And here's the other thing that the Democratic Party and the far left don't realize. They don't understand Hispanics. Hispanics believe in the Lord or God. They believe in family. And they have a love of country. And I was talking with someone about this yesterday. I don't understand how that became a Democrat or a Republican thing. That was what that's what I was taught. I'm Polish and Mexican, and on both sides, they loved their family. We were Polish Roman Catholic. And they loved their country because it afforded us, on both sides, my grandfathers, who I very rarely had any conversation because they're very old and already beat up from working in the mill their entire life, afforded them a better life for their kids, which was my mom and dad and aunts and uncles, which had afforded a better life for us, which is affording a better life for my kids and my grandson. And most of that started from Inland Steel and Youngstown Steel. So and we were staunch Democrats, Joe. If you would have brought up the word Republican in my household, my dad would have cut your tongue off. Where the Democratic Party kicked the unions out and kicked people like us out, I have no idea why they did it. But they did. And what's emblematic of the far left is like Katie Porter, isn't that her name that's running for governor? Look up Katie Porter. So here's a perfect example of the far left. They say that they're on moral high ground and that they're all about people. But then when you see the way they live, they're mostly flaky. They want to cancel everybody. And then when the way they treat people when they're in office or in charge, you see the way that this Katie Porter was talking to her subordinate. She's a typical liberal and progressive. Oh, everyone's supposed to treat everyone so equal and this and that until she gets in charge. And I don't understand to this day why. I mean, I know when it happened when Barack Obama came in presidency because he didn't need that union coalition because he got 95% of the African American vote. He got such a high percentage of the limousine liberals that he had a coalition together where he didn't have to kowtow to them. And so it just is, it's churned everything up. What used to be Democrats now Republican, what used to be Republicans now Democrat. And that just happened in the last 15 years. Let me tell you how it all goes full circle. I'll give you an example, Joe. There was a guy that was Secretary of State that the Democratic Party brought in, and he was the son of a senator. And his name was Evan Bayh. And 1986, fundraisers at Wicker Park at the Pavilion, pig roast, everything else for a young, good-looking guy named Evan Bayh. He won as Secretary of State. He won as governor 2 terms. He won as senator a couple terms. And now the Democratic Party in the state of Indiana is turning back to the Bayh family and going to look for his son who is running as Secretary of State. So it just reminds me that as much as things change, they stay the same. So is that going to lead to the Democrats getting some type of say in this state? I don't know, but I will tell you this. Right now, Governor Braun is upside down on his polling. The Republican Party at the state level is looking to redistrict this state. Are you in favor of them redistricting Congressman Ravan out of his seat? Because that's what the goal is. There's only 2 Democratic seats in the state of Indiana at the federal level. One is Andre Carson, which is in Indianapolis. The other is Frank Mervan. And as I said earlier, the Republicans believe that they have the maps drawn where they have defeated the current Congressman Frank Mervan. What do you think about that, Joe? Do you think that matters to people? You think that people will be pissed? 219-845. We have just a couple minutes left, and I'm out of here. Good morning. You're live in the air.
Morning, Joe. Hey, Cruz, this is for Joe. What's the lineup for tonight in football, and where are they going to be? Thanks.
All right, thanks for the call, Joe.
Perfect. I will pull that up in a second.
The main game is Andrean at Lowell.
Yeah, so Andrean and Lowell are going to be is the game of the week. That's where we're heading.
Who's going to win that game, Joe? Don't take your Andrean hat off. You've watched the teams this year. Who's going to win that game?
It'll be an interesting one. So I actually faded both of these teams earlier in the season. I picked Hobart against both of them, and Hobart lost to both of them.
Close games or no?
Andrean put a little bit more of a whooping on it. Lowell kicked the game-winning field goal. Lowell is bigger this year. They're bigger than I thought they'd be. They're going to match up well with Andrean.
And they always pound the ball, right? Isn't that what they're known for?
Not this year.
They're throwing the ball?
They got a new coach, and they throw the ball more. They got the new Prairie coach. And I'm going to say Andrean just because Skinner has a miraculous way of coming out on top.
How long does he stay coaching at Andrean, Skinner? What does he do for a living? Is he a teacher?
Yes, he's a science teacher. Skinner will probably be at Andrean until the day that he dies, if I had to guess, or as long as they will let him be there. So other than that, Hobart plays Highland at Hobart. We got Hanover at home against Hammond Central. And we got Boone Grove against Bishop Knoll. Those are all the games that we are covering.
All righty, there you go. 219-845-1100. Last call, because if not, we'll take our final break, and I'm going to get out of here. Joe, thank you very much. Don't forget that this program is sponsored by Kuziak Construction. If you are looking at getting some work done, we still have time in the season. We're outside still until the snow flies. We do roofing, fascia soffit siding, replacement windows, front decks, or front porches, front railing systems, back decks around the house. Also, if we really haven't seen a cold spell yet, but both gas and electric prices are soaring, and we've been doing a lot of blown-in insulation. So if you want to get ahead of the curve before you get that big bill, we can come in and take a look at your attic and look and see how much insulation you have and get you a price for blown-in insulation. It's going to be very, very – it is 23% increase on electric. I don't know how much the gas went up, but we have not had a cold spell yet. Have you turned your heat on yet?
No.
Either have I. Do we got one last call?
Yeah, and I still need you to come check in on the roof, too. I forgot.
Oh, yeah, send me a text.
Yes. All right, yeah, we got one more.
Last call of the day. Good morning, you're live in the air.
Morning, Dave. Bill from Lowell. How you doing, my friend?
What up, brother?
Hey, man. I got to agree with you on the whole politician stuff. You know, Democrat, Republican, we're screwed no matter who's in office. I am totally dead set against ever voting again. If anything, I'll vote local, but never, ever, ever again for any federal job.
If I was 10 years younger, I'd start the Common Sensecrat Party, and I would believe that I would have more people following us than the two parties. The two-party system is not meant to help you. The party system is meant to protect themselves and all the people at the top. Kamala Harris spent $2 billion and lost. Yeah. How many of those checks were written to all the operatives, whether it be Reverend Al or Dan Pfeiffer or all the people, Jake Carney, all the people that have been David Axelrod, David Plouffe, all the people that have been in the Democratic Party, same thing on the right. So they have to pay all their people. They're not created for us. They're created to protect themselves.
That's it. Their family and themselves. And then I got one more thing I want to run across you.
Yeah.
I don't know if you touched it face on it today or not, but what do you think of the 16% gas increase from NIPSCO, huh?
Well, that's what I just said. We've got more calls for blown-in insulation in the last month than we had all year. I will say something about gas costs because we fill up 10 trucks. We plate 17 different vehicles and trailers. It was $2.54 yesterday.
I got mine for $2.49 in St. John today.
$2.49. So something's going on with that. Right down the street's $2.65, $2.63. I think that it's terrible. I think that you're going to see people. You're talking about NIPSCO. I think it's a travesty. I've said this before, and I know all the people at NIPSCO. Okay, they're doing their job. They have a monopoly, and they can charge what they want. Yeah, and that's just the reality of the world. It has nothing to do with the people. And I'll give you an example. Gary Neal, who just passed away, when he left, they either gave him $10 or $14 million golden parachute. How is it that you do that and you could look straight in the face of your customers? Let's go a step further next door. Commonwealth Edison. The guy that was in charge of the state for 40 years just reported to jail because he was making inside deals with Commonwealth Edison, which was basically a tax on all the people of Illinois, which basically is a Democratic state.
Yeah, it's a sad, sad situation going on in our world right now, Dave.
Greed and corruption, brother. Hey, keep the faith. We'll be back next week.
Enjoy your weekend, sir.
All right. Joe, thank you very much for what you do. Good luck on your team tonight. Hopefully you're there and you enjoy a good game. I think it should be a very good one between Lowell and Andrean. If you like some of the other games that are going on, please watch. For all those other people, enjoy your weekend. Make it the best that you can. I'll be back next Friday. Joe, you do what you do.
I'll be at the game.
And listen, if you're a good-looking young girl that is going to college and looking to be very successful in their life, Joe's a good-looking kid that's actually looking for a date.
Yeah. You have to be willing to make $150,000 a year when you're older, though. Or else
Look
I'm
at
not
that,
involved.
Joe. Look, Joe, go. Get it, baby.
I'll be at the game all day. If anyone wants to come up and say hi to me or the rest of the crew, show up early to Friday night kickoff. It'll be a great game tonight. It'll be a great show. And that's all I got to say to end it out.
All righty. If it's Friday, it's the Dave Kuziak Show on WJOB, 1230 AM, 104.7 FM from the beautiful Strachan Van Til Food Market Studios.